Anyone here been to Gab? Where did that link just go? I was like dragging it over, and when I hit the button, it fucking disappeared. A social network that champions free speech, individual liberty, and the free flow of information online. Recently banned pornography. See, this is one of those websites that was made as a replacement to an existing website when all the conservatives and Nazis and such were banned off the original. I don't think that's a particularly controversial take on how Gab came to be, this social network that champions free speech, individual liberty, and the free flow of information online. You can see them justifying their decision if you just mosey on over to gabtrends.com, their official Twitter page. They have been losing their shit fighting back against the Coomers. Gab is 100% open source. Pro-porn operations are free to take our technology, the social network in the browser, and flip our bans on it. They can allow as much pornography as desired. They can also learn about the problems associated with hosting it. Anyone can. Haha, bro. You want to have porn on our free speech open source platform? Just rip the code and make another site. There's no actual viable way to guarantee the porn you watch was made consensually or ethically. Oh, and we'll talk about that in just a second, by the way. Consensual ethical pornography production, okay? We're gonna get to that one, don't you worry. It's okay to be white, so on and so forth. If we want to look at here, porn. That's porn. This is porn. They have been losing their shit. Only Christianity and Christ are allowed to be mocked, blasphemed, and satirized. Now, when I search porn here, it only gives fucking 3 results, and I have no idea why that may be. We're going to scroll through manually, my friends. They post a lot of shit here. A lot of shit here. Discussion about porn. I don't know why that didn't come up when I looked for porn in the fucking Twitter. Porn is not a blessing of liberty. A growing number of states call porn a public health crisis. And they tweeted it again just to make sure you got the point, you know? What makes all of you misfits? Porn addiction, porn also porn, and then here's the 41% trans recent suicide attempt meme. Is porn free speech? Should it be allowed on social media? It's straightforward and complicated at the same time. We can go even further if we want. I mean, it continues like this. Right now, we're only 6 hours in deep on these tweets. Here's the Stefan Molyneux tradwife meme. We're going to be getting to that. Degeneracy is rewarded in a world gone mad. Admittedly, Big Mouth is pretty degenerate. So we're, so that sure is the case. Now, a very lazy take for me here would be that Gab markets itself as this free speech platform, but it's very obviously a far right-wing platform that is dedicated pretty exclusively towards defending the interests of the far right, which is why their Twitter account is all retweeting far right people, talking about far right issues, or talking about how the only group that it's still okay to persecute are white people, heterosexuals, Christians, straights, and cis people. From Roosh V, no less, who is apparently still alive. Armenian Orthodox. This is the person who complained that he didn't have the energy to wipe his ass because of how tiring it was to be a man. I hope he gets the help he needs. I sincerely doubt he will. Here we go. See, here's them. We have a black woman twerk. Yep, there we go. Black woman twerking on a police car. From the 1950s American dream. We kind of get the gist of what this Twitter account is all about, don't we? It's one of the big Sticks and Hammer having a good time over there. It's one of the it's an alt-right. Yeah, there's Mr. Medicare. It's an alt-right Twitter account. But This, yeah, oh, here, Paul Joseph Watson, beautiful. Who also, here's his BitChute. Do we want to go to BitChute? Yes, modernity. I've actually seen this video of Paul Joseph Watson's. It's delightful to know that PJW, even with his size, only gets 30K views on BitChute. Not that big of a website then, huh? Whatever the case may be, this is, see, it's, who is this, Miley Cyrus? Looking at cake that says abortion? I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a spoiler warning. Leave the channel now if you don't want me to tell you what this video is about. All right, that's all the time you're going to get. This video is the same bullshit, whingy complaints about the moral degeneracy of the hip youth, of the Zoomer. Paul Joseph Watson actually quite likes making content along those lines. Does anyone remember the ass beer, Paul Joseph Watson? This is why the terrorists hate us. Everyone remembers that, right? That was a pretty good meme, right? That's not the only time Paul Joseph Watson has seemed uncomfortable with sex. He seems to do it pretty much any time there's any prominent social media feed, like a pop-up of a woman being naked in public. Remember the time that he got super fucking triggered that there was a twerking class? You remember that, right? He's just weirdly uncomfortable with sex, it seems like. And, you know, who could imagine why? All of this is relatively new. This massive blowback against sex as a concept is relatively new. I mean, okay, I should clarify. The conservative right being anti-sex is not new. I'm just going to clarify that one. However, media outlets meant to appeal to younger crowds who tout things like pro-free speech, pro-individual expression, these crowds being anti-sex. That's pretty new. Keep in mind, Paul Joseph Watson just a few years ago was talking about how joyless feminists are robbing the world of sex by taking all of the boobies out of video games. The Quartering still does that, and to his credit, the Quartering recently made fun of Gab for their decision to remove pornography from their platform. So what is this? Like, what the fuck is happening? Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, what's happening in reality is, this is the true meme, okay? The true meme is that a large constituency of the far right, not necessarily neo-Nazi alt-right, but of the far right, you know, fascists included, are incels. They have no romantic or social prospects whatsoever. This should be evident if you spend any time in their communities. This is I'd say a pretty huge component of their core constituency. Now, I'm not saying this to make fun of them. I'm saying this because we need to recognize the fact that people are a product of their material conditions. If you're being deprived of that sweet coochie juice, you're more likely to turn towards ideologues who claim to have a solution for your problems. And what's the problem here? Well, it's been phrased in many ways. See, some people, like the red pill crowd, call this hypergamy. Some people, like the neo-Nazi crowd, call this Jewish enforced sexual degeneracy. Some people, like the traditional conservative crowd, just call this being a slut. These groups have different terms for what is functionally the same insecurity. That if if women are allowed sexual freedom, then they're going to slut it up with a bunch of chads with huge cocks and who might be darker skinned than you and leave you out in the cold. That's the same basic insecurity. It's one of the most foundational insecurities in the history of the Western civilization, and probably other civilizations too. It's actually pretty incredible how long they managed to keep that one going. And it's still going, and it continues to go, and it may never actually even stop. But where does that leave us exactly? Well, they get insecure about this idea that women are able to just fuck and fuck and fuck and have no social accountability. And what this ends up leading to in their minds is that the good men get left out until they're like 40, you know, at which point they'll find some used up, dried out, pussy denim interior wife who just wants to shack up so she can get like kids and money. And if you're the girl, because you're jumping out on a whole bunch of dicks, you destroy your ability to form real social empathetic connections. And so it hurts everyone. And different people approach this in a different way. MGTOWs just want to fuck off and leave all this to be. Some people actually unironically become volcels and just want to avoid women. This is all men, by the way. I should clarify. This is something all men are doing. I guarantee you the gender demographics of the fucking communities that are so concerned with this are like 99.8% male. Who knows why the alt-right doesn't have many women in it, right? And the few women there are all get elevated immediately to positions of public prominence. Some groups like the Red Pill folks want to exploit this imagined social tendency by being the Chad and by fucking as many women as possible without getting emotionally invested. But we have a new solution on the rise, okay? A new hot hip one. It's pretty tied to neo-Nazism, though not intrinsically so, all right? We're going back to the trad wife memes, my friends. We're going back to the past future. We're going back to the traditional ism, not degenerate. So you two are really just gonna pursue a normal and healthy sex life based on love, mutual respect, and a genuine desire to see your partner happy? Yes. Hey, this bitch stole my tweet. You follow me, don't you? Yes, she fucking follows me. This bitch stole my tweet. I tweeted this. I pointed out the fact that this is supposed to be an anti-porn meme, but they gave her huge fucking tits. You piece of shit, soy girl. I'm fucking on to you. Soy_girl. You're on my shit list now. Do I follow you? I do follow you. Alright, we're coming back to you. We'll come back to you later. You piece of shit. Oh, God. Let's not waste time, folks. Big, far-right public figures are now pushing anti-porn, anti-degeneracy, pro-trad wife, pro-traditional marriage, pro-having lots of kids. Let's explore the social tendencies that are the foundation of these, okay? Quick one. All right, first off, demographics. The big one, all right? A lot of people, mostly white supremacists, are concerned with the relative demographic proportions of the racial groups in this country. And that can be any country, UK, US. There are white supremacists everywhere, okay? Or white nationalists. They want lots of white babies, all right? Classic one, all right? If you encourage your constituency, which is basically all white if you're talking about the far right, and you encourage them to shack up, marry early, and have a bunch of kids, bam, congrats. You've got a lot of fucking little babies running around. White babies. That's good. 2, anti-degeneracy. We've got our Nazi and our non-Nazi flavor. Nazi flavor is that Jews who control the porn industry are deliberately responsible for disseminating pornography and other pieces of media which encourage sexual degeneracy, which encourage porn, which are meant to destroy and disrupt the white man in his energies in a variety of ways. It is the Jew, so they say, who promotes interracial pornography. It is the Jew who promotes interracial couples in media, which is to socially normalize the degenerate practice of race mixing. It is the Jew who pushes pornography aggressively, ensuring that the white man's energies are distracted with meaningless, aesthetic satiation. It is the Jew who is responsible for disrupting, yes, the blacked, also the Jew, believe it or not. Jew this, Jew that. It's all them. They're orchestrating a master plan. By banning porn, you're thwarting them at their schemes. You're preventing them from socially engineering the destruction of the white race. Bam. 3, insecurity. Okay? Insecurity is the hallmark of conservative politics. It always will be. It always has been. This is eternal. It is eternally. This is the reason why it used to be common back in the days, back in the South, when you'd have a good old fashioned lynching in the post-slavery days, in the Jim Crow era. Very often, before hanging the black man, who in most cases would be hanged because of some imagined misbehavior towards a white woman. Of course, there were no courts, so we don't know. They just hanged them. Very often before then, the black men would be castrated, and sometimes you shove their genitals in their mouth, for example. Lots of fun things you can do with cock and balls that have been separated from the body. Why'd they do that? Well, it's because even back 150 years ago, even back when black people were legally subhuman, legally subhuman, even back then, the white man was terrified of the animalistic, sexually aggressive black man who would rape their wives, but also do a better job than they ever could. There are reports. You can go look at them. I'm not a fucking historian, but these were legitimate insecurities that existed 150 years ago. How insecure do you have to be as a people to fear the sexual prowess of people for whom there are no legal consequences to kill, functionally, and who are literal second-class citizens? I don't know. I'm not a very insecure person, but that's pretty fucking incredible, huh? We have a wide variety of factors that are playing into this. We want white men to be strong. We want them to be free from Jewish degeneracy. We want more white babies. Traditional gender roles are, in their minds, the functional solution to these issues. And that is the reason why all of these big pro-free speech, anti-SJW outlets, whether they be Gab, whether they be Paul Joseph Watson, whether they be any other Mark, what was his name? Mark Walsh? I forget his name, but there was another like large conservative figure who was talking about this. Nick Fuentes, Stefan Molyneux. Why all these large figures are talking about banning pornography or how dangerous pornography is. Okay, so let's dispel their false attempts at Mark Wahlberg. I don't think it's Mark Wahlberg. Actually, Matt Walsh, possibly. I Google around for a little while. Okay, my memory is and always has been quite bad. But so there's a reason why all this has been happening. They've been banning the pornography because it's part of a larger agenda to promote what is functionally a white supremacist sort of mission, produce more white babies to free us from Jewish control. It doesn't have to be the Jews, by the way. Even if you're not an anti-Semite, even if you're not a neo-Nazi, you can still believe that the degeneracy being pushed by the media is a product of the godless liberals or whatever. You can fit a lot of groups in there. A lot of them believe it's Jews. A lot of them think it's godless liberals. Oh, maybe it's just a whole, maybe it's cum brains all the way down, But let's, for a moment, dispel these fake concerns they have, because they like to cloak it in that. You see, the right has always been very good, or at least they've always been very determined, to cloak their concerns in the language of progressivism, for example. That's why they talk about white genocide as white genocide, rather than completely nonviolent, legal demographic changes, which sounds a little bit less scary. It's one of the reasons why, the term libertarianism was ripped wholesale from leftist theory, for example. It used to be a left-leaning ideology. If you want to go into how the right will play identity politics to defend themselves when it's prescient, remember Candace Owens, after she was lambasted up in the congressional hearing, she immediately responded by accusing the congressperson of thinking black people are stupid when it had nothing to do with the subject matter. Remember when I was talking to Blair White and she was like, I just think it's kind of funny that you're a cis guy and you're talking to me about trans issues and you're telling me I'm wrong. They love doing it. They love doing it. And the reason for that is because we make better arguments. Of course, we're right, so we have that on our side. But it helps us. But here are some common concerns that they like to bring up that they genuinely do not give a fuck about. Whether or not porn is ethically sourced or produced. I'm sorry, when was the last time you saw alt-righters or conservatives give a single shit about the frequency with which women are raped and sexually abused? Go on. You can post in chat if you think you have an answer. How many times have they pushed for more money being put towards rape kits being tested? How many times have they pushed in favor of the Me Too movement? How many times have they pushed in favor of holding men accountable for sexual assault? I don't know. I don't think they actually care that much about whether or not women in porn productions are being sexually abused. I don't Yeah. Oh, they care if it's brown people doing it, or they pretend to care at least, you know. The moment you hear on the news story, one brown man rapes a white woman, you get a cavalcade of sudden, very feminist support for women's sexual autonomy. It's extraordinary. But for the most part, I really don't think they give a single shit. So there's that. Um, they like to talk about I've seen many people who do this anti-porn bent. They talk about how it's like destructive to the mentality of women, or like it leads to their sexual degeneracy or their inability to form intimate relationships. Again, I just really quickly want to point out they only give a fuck if it's white women, not women. They're non-specific with their concerns for a reason, because it looks a lot less sympathetic when they're actually upfront about the particular groups they're trying to protect. So they do not give a shit, I promise you, about black men or black women in pornography, or whatever conceivable consequences their participation in that system might end up having on their psyches. They do not give a fuck. That shouldn't be surprising to you or me, of course. I just want to point out that when they say pornography is bad because it you know, it's the sexual degeneracy, it damages women's ability to form healthy relationships, well, they mean white women's. So we should just be clear about that, because we don't do that dog whistly stuff, you know, like us lefties. When we say we want to help workers out, we want to help the poor out, we mean it. We want to help all the workers out. We want to help all of the poor out. We're sincere in that. We don't leave little quiet qualifiers off to the side. So sometimes we'll let them get away with that because we're so used to being honest with our intentions. I mean, we saw with the Gab Twitter account when we were scrolling through it, they had several articles there like the effects porn could have on your psyche or whatever. The alt-right and conservatives in general truly do not give a shit about the mental health of those who are under their wing. They really genuinely do not give a single fuck about any of that. Having been in a fair number of far-right circles myself, do you know how often these people discuss the mental wellness of their constituency? Do you know how often they provide support for one another, or reach out, or make an effort to try and address long-standing emotional difficulties? Do you know how often they actually make an effort to improve the general mental well-being of their community? Because I have never seen it. I have never seen it. Their communities are hate spirals. They're designed to make people upset and angry. They're toxic towards each other, too. If you go into these communities, the only camaraderie that you'll ever see, and I'm serious about that, by the way, having been there, the only camaraderie you will ever see in these communities is when these people say, God, the world is so fucked up. Fucking hell, world, stupid fucking kike pieces of shit. Fucking Negroes. Glad I have you guys. I'm glad I get to see the end of it all with you. That's about it. That's about it. That's all you get. It's angry people, very angry, very unstable people, who are finding camaraderie only in their shared pathological hatred of the world. And like, wait, okay, we have former alt-righters here in the community. Can you raise your hand if I'm correct? I know I'm correct, but like... Oh, of course it's fake camaraderie. It's completely insincere, but it is nonetheless something they play at. In all likelihood, because they genuinely don't understand what empathy or human kindness feel like anymore. I know that sounds like an anime line. You've forgotten the meaning of friendship! I mean it, though. Yeah, they shit on each other, like, all the time. The far right does not care about how mentally well you are. Why do they pretend to? Well, if pretending to leads to getting more white babies, then there you go. If pretending to care about the well-being of white people leads to you being able to push for social policies that you think will increase the birth rate of whites, then there you go. And I want to point something out really quick. We just took a look at this hot, fresh meme, right? This person right here, this trad wife, doesn't exist. This is as much a fiction as the anime self-insert OCs that autistic people with too much time on their hands will draw themselves with if you give them a 6 hours practice in MS Paint and a $50 bamboo tablet. This person doesn't exist. This person is a mimic. This person is a fictional creature that they have designed to validate their idea that things are going to work out for them. And it's really sad. There's a reason why she has the ridiculous boobs, by the way. Can we actually focus on that, by the way? I'm not trying to be like a Coomer here or anything, but I want to point out that the dude that has been drawn here looks like a kind of average guy who's got like a nice beard. His mustache curls up. He's, you know, like, he looks kind of like angry at the world. He's just wearing a black hoodie. But she looks like this gorgeous anime character with like beautiful, beautiful fucking hair and huge honkers in a trad wife dress. The dichotomy between these two is perfectly representative of the relationship between this self-insert and this fictional creature. Why are you saying there are literally no women like that? Pretty sure trad wives are a real thing for whatever reason. Oh, of course there are women that are like this, but there are far more like this, men like this on the right, than there are women like this on the left. They are trying to push this this narrative of the 20-year-old like trad wife zoomer, of the girl who's rejected the false song of globalism and just wants to raise children and live a happy life with her a husband, or exactly, you know? There's a reason why he looks like a regular dude and she looks like a fucking anime waifu. There's a reason for that. And again, I'm not just going to honk on about like haha boob socks. Like, look, it's supposed to be a dress, but the dress perfectly contours to the underside of the boob, and that's just bad drawing, I guess. Unless you want to go real stylistic, but that's not really the kind of thing you're looking for here, right? I mean, if you're trying to sell anti-degeneracy and like simple conservative trad wifing, why would you draw them like that? I'm pointing this out because I've seen a lot of this. Like, we can look it up right now. Wojak trad wife. It's very telling, I think. It's in the same dress, see? This is meant to be like a painterly version of the Wojak trad wife. I've been seeing so much for this. Drawn by men, of course, in almost all instances. This is a 1488 joke, I guess? I don't really get it. But the same principle is held to nonetheless. I, under normal circumstances, wouldn't really make fun of people for, like, the drawing their... Here, oh wait, we can get it here. Oh, perfect, perfect. Here's what they want. And I want to, really quickly, let's remember, this whole anti-porn thing, this whole anti-sexual degeneracy thing, this whole anti-masturbation no-nut thing, all of it comes down fundamentally to this. To orchestrate a world in which these far-right deuterinos can finally get the delicious Aryan tradwife pussy that they've been looking for. All of this is part of a projection that is being orchestrated to fulfill the desires of sexually frustrated men. I don't think we should be associating big boobs with sexuality. Under normal circumstances, no, but drawing giant tits like this and then like hooking it under and like perfectly defining the boobies in a way that no fabric ever could reasonably accommodate unless you specifically designed it to be fetish gear, I think that's pretty explicitly sexual. The boobs themselves are whatever, but anyway, let's go, folks. Let's count the signs. Are you ready to count the signs? The liberated feminist wears tons of makeup because of her low self-esteem. And the trad wife loves her natural face, only wears light makeup. I feel like she's got a lot of blush on, but okay. Got a crappy flower tattoo when she was 17, calling my girlfriend out, except my girlfriend's tattoo is lovely. Love you. Sleeps around to improve her self-esteem, but it only makes her feel worse. Chubby from her diet of fast food and microwave meals. Aborted her black baby last year. Claims she's bi but has only dated men. Works a minimum wage job because of her gender studies degree didn't get her anywhere. Is only attracted to black men. Wears clothing that barely fits her. Uses fake tanner so dark she looks Mexican. Damaged hair from overdying. We're packing a lot of stuff in here, aren't we? We're packing a lot of ideas in here. It's very easy to sell a political agenda when your engagement with the opposition is limited exclusively to images that that just list off like a series of purportedly negative things, and runs with it. And then let's go with the trad wife. Her husband works to support her staying at home and raising the kids. Interesting. I don't know if we can really go. I don't know if that's a likely economic reality for most people in this country these days, but that's okay. In her 20s, but is already married with kids, loves her family, race, and country in that order. That's interesting. If you loved your family before your race, wouldn't that imply that you could marry a black dude if you loved him? Would love for a partner not be a component of family? If your love for your family comes before your love for your race, wouldn't that mean like you should be able to sleep around with people of any race? And you can still love your race, but then you can like dip out in it because the family comes first. And then country in that order. Because remember, fascists live to serve the state. Natural hair with highlights from the sun, from dancing around in poppy fields in a sundress, no doubt. Natural tan from her outdoor lifestyle. Wears modest and feminine clothing, slim figure from her healthy homemade meals and active lifestyles. Homeschools her kids so they aren't taught progress BS in school, knowledgeable about her European roots. So this is obviously a Nazi meme. I'm sure I don't have to push that too much. The one on the left, unironically, seems like she has more personality to me, even in the context of the horrible fucking dichotomy that's being presented here with all the stereotypes to the left and to the right. I still think I prefer the one to the left because she at least looked like she has a character and wouldn't just go along with everything I have to say because I'm taller than her and have a white dick. But this is the dichotomy that people kind of frame it as. Ultimately, it boils down to insecurity because the end goal for all of this anti-porn tradwife nonsense is facilitating a social state where it is more likely that the incels who populate the right are going to be able to find their Aryan waifu, you know? Nazis only want yes wives because they have no self-esteem. Oh yeah, of course. Wanting a trad wife, wanting a traditional fucking wife who's submissive to her man is fucking pathetic if you're a guy. There's nothing more pathetic to me than people who try to frame their insecurities as some sort of desirable social state, you know? Oh god, well, why do we need an ethno state? Well, pathologically afraid of black men. Can't be, I'm getting fucking sore feet crossing the street every time I see them walking my way, you know? Why do we want trad wives? I'm just really insecure about my masculinity and being able to literally order my wife around for the next 60 years and my children too, patriarchal lineage, is the only way I can get my rocks off and make me feel like the authority figure I'll never actually be. You know? They do the exact same thing with non-monogamy too. Non-monogamy is getting to be like more and more popular, but now it's like, if you're in a non-monogamous relationship, you stupid piece of shit, you let your partner get fucked by millions of dicks hourly while you just sit there jerking off to the thought of it. They project their insecurities so hard, it will never make me feel anything other than genuine pity. So I bet trad wives get abused more. I don't even care. I don't know if they get abused more or less. It's pathetic whether or not they get abused more or less. Now, I would imagine they probably get abused more. There are plenty of historical accounts of women being treated very poorly, and that was in large part because they had absolutely no recourse against men who treated them poorly if they were in a marriage. So, I mean, if you're in that position, then I don't know. It's kind of funny because this whole anti-porn thing is being framed as a way of preventing women from experiencing abuse, but they want to bring about a social system that historically has led to more abuse of women. They never care about the white men dating out, only white women. Yeah, because they're angry either way. If there are two white people, a man and a woman, and the woman goes and sleeps around because they're in an open relationship, that's pathetic, degenerate soy boy getting cucked, cuck, 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 cuck. And the alternative, if you're the man and you're getting a bunch of pussy when you go out, you're their enemy. You're the Chad who's been depriving them of the pussy. You're the one who's enabling hypergamy in other women. They don't want people sleeping around. They've long since given up on the possibility of them being sexually successful in that way. They just want now, all they want now, is to bring about a social state where women are more or less socially forced into being their slaves so they can get the juicy Aryan pussy for the rest of their lives. Can we talk for a moment about the Asian fetish and the incel alt-right community? Yeah, that's also pretty fucking funny because they think that Asian women are like super demure, I guess. Like maybe, I don't know. Maybe like Asian women maybe there are more Asian women. Well, of course there are more Asian women who are submissive than white women because there are more Asian women in general, I think. But that's the thing. They think that Asian women have been left uncorrupted by the satanic touch of modern feminism, you know, or some nonsense like that. I don't fucking know. It's anime, don't dig too deep. I've been to Japan. I've got a little bit of credence on which to speak. Yeah, pretty much only in Japan. Oh yeah, also anime. Yeah, it's also anime. Let's be real. It's also anime. That's why go watch a fucking harem anime, dude. All the girls squeaking. Oh no, Oni-chan. Fucking have a good ass time, okay? I mean, Asian women are hot. I mean, lots of women are hot. I don't think that's why they're going for it, though. They're going for it because of the mythologized sex patriots or sexpats have been a thing for a really long time. Where dudes who like old, like schlubby, wealthy white dudes who can't get a partner over here will go and impress some like Southeast Asian girl with their wealth and then come back with a wife, you know? It's really genuinely sad, but this is kind of the logical extension of that tendency. Recently, some communities have been saying Southeast Asian because normal East Asian women are affected by Western globalism now. Yep, well, we'll get there. Have I deconverted alt-righters? I mean, at least a few of them. I get an email like every day about how I have, so I assume that at this point, like, I've gotten emails from at least like 50 people saying I have, so that's something, right? But there's probably people who I haven't emailed, so we can only hope. Anyway. Doesn't that happen a lot in the military? Yeah, but at least in the military, like, the dudes are young and they're not going there because they're cynically trying to avoid, like, a white wife, you know? At least in those cases, there is like a genuine possibility that that the love is genuine. Oh, this is really cute. In what way, Chainsaw Chimera? This is cute as hell. Look at that. I love it. If the community isn't supportive, what glues them together in the first place? Abject hatred. The alt-right is absolutely packed with hatred and mental illness. This is cute as shit. I'm saving this. Here, hold on. I'm gonna not have my computer on screen so that whatever folder this saves to and whatever is contained in that folder isn't an issue. All right, we did it. We saved, boys. Super cute. Godspeed, you two. This is the praxis we need in this day and age. Because this is what I want. Because this is what I want. If you want to be a fucking trad wife, if you want to stay at home and raise kids, if you want to not consume pornography, if you want to be monogamous for your entire life, fucking go for it. Do it. We're not stopping you. We're legitimately not stopping you. If either you recognize we're not stopping you, because we aren't, or you accuse us of socially engineering the alternative, trying to stop you indirectly, in which case I'll point out that any attempt to counter that social engineering is itself social engineering. There's no way around it. If you want to be a fucking Trad wife, whatever. Godspeed. If you want to be a slutty as fuck, fucking 30-year-old who's apparently yoked, check out that arm, and go on fucking Pornhub and get absolutely ass blasted by like 80 black dudes a night. Yeah, this shit too. This is just one. Just 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 be happy. That's all. All I want is a society in which people have the freedom and the social acumen and the material resources to live the lives that they feel most comfortable living, to explore whatever they want to explore, to do whatever they want to do, to form relationships. Now, I'm not saying everyone can go on out there and be a Nazi or whatever. There are some things I don't think people should be able to be. Or, well, I mean, you can be it if you want, but socially we'll discourage it at every possible opportunity. But in terms of just living your life freely, if you want a fucking white wife, go fucking find a white wife, dude. I'd maybe question like why it's the race is so important, but if it is, just fucking find a white wife. If you are a little fucking virgin, go find a giant Chad to plow your hole. If you're a gigantic Chad, save a little cum for the little guy, you know? Fucking Stacy and I forget the non-Stacy. What's the non-Stacy's name? The incel version of Stacy? Nicole? Is it Nicole? Just boobies. Just go. Go out there. Oh, it's Becky. That's right, Becky. Just go. Be free. And one last vacuous Pepe laugh for Gab, which dishonestly promoted itself as a platform for free speech before revealing to the world something everyone already knew, that far-right doesn't care about free speech and never has cared about free speech, and they will turn on their principles the moment there is any social incentivization to do so. They simply do not care. It's like a little microcosm of what they would do if they ever gained control of our government. Oh, yeah, you know, we're very in favor of free speech. Big fans. Yeah, totally. We care very much. Yeah. Oh, now we're in power. Oops. Oh, stinky. Uh-oh. Look whose legal rights are getting taken away. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Do you think incels and Nazis hate lesbians because they hate women away from them too, Vosh? Yes. Those groups are always going to be infuriated by women having sex if the sex isn't with them.